Hey George W. Bush. What are you doing back in the White House?
Not criticizing you. Seriously, though, I'm here to compromise. You said on June 16, 2009, that we've had a debate on Obamacare and other policies, and that you had won the election, and therefore the debate. But now, after the midterm elections, you say you had messaging problems and now the Republicans should be ready to compromise. So here I am. What would you like to do?
Oh. Well, I'd really like to raise taxes on the rich, but fortunately you lowered them in your term, so all I have to do is raise them to exactly what they were before you lowered them, and then I can say I am lowering taxes on the middle class. I just don't think we can afford a tax cut on the rich.
That's clever and all, but when I lowered the tax rate, the tax revenue increased. Doesn't that mean that, if you raise the tax rate, tax revenues will decrease?
Nope. I will raise taxes.
What do you mean by taxes? There are tax rates and tax revenues. Through Congress, you can raise tax rates, but tax revenues are determined by more than just the rates. When the rates change, people's behaviors change as well. So just because the tax rate goes up, doesn't mean that the revenue will follow.
What makes you say that?
Economic history. When John F. Kennedy lowered tax rates in the early 1960s, the tax revenues went up. The same was true the next time tax rates were lowered in the 1980s under Ronald Reagan.
But how can you lower taxes and get more money? That doesn't make sense.
Because people change their habits when the taxes change. If tax rates go up, people receive a smaller percentage of their earnings. Some people may no longer have an incentive to continue working. If they are wealthy enough, they may stop working and enjoy the fruits of their labor. Many businesses are on the brink of bankruptcy. For them, a tax increase may push them over the brink, and they may fail. This means more people will lose their jobs. With fewer taxpayers, the government takes in less revenue. Now there is a point of diminishing return, where lowering the tax rate too much will decrease the revenue, but we, as a country, have never lowered them far enough to observe the effects. And since you are not actually considering lowering tax rates, I suggest you leave them the same for everyone.
What will people think of me if I go back on what I said before and lower taxes for both the rich and the middle class?
They will think you are compromising, but, again, you are not actually lowering any tax rates. You are considering keeping the tax rates the same.
But I'm not the one who has to compromise, you have to.
Actually, I'm no longer an elected official, but you are essentially half correct. Both you and the Republicans have to compromise. That is the nature of a split government. If you don't compromise, then the Republicans have the power to stop everything you want to accomplish. I would be careful though, because the voters did not seem to like your accomplishments so far. Like Clinton, your second term may depend on how much you are willing to compromise.
It's not that they didn't like my initiatives, it's just that I didn't explain myself well enough for them to understand.
So your messaging problem was that the electorate isn't able to grasp how good your plans are.
No. Let me be clear. I am not saying that the American people aren't able to understand, it's just that I didn't explain it well enough.
You're mincing words. I think you should just compromise with the Republicans, forget your agenda and pray for a second term.